You're not healing, you're rehearsing healing. And honestly, you're getting really good at the performance. You've mastered the vocabulary, perfected the aesthetic, nailed the whole wounded healer persona that gets you just enough sympathy to avoid actually changing anything real about your life. You post your therapy breakthroughs like they're movie reviews. You journal your trauma like it's fan fiction. You collect healing modalities like trading cards, always searching for the next one that will finally fix you without requiring you to do anything uncomfortable. But here's the thing that's going to sting. You don't want to heal. You want to heal. You want the credit for trying without the responsibility of succeeding. You want the aesthetic of growth without the actual growing. By the end of this, I hope you finally admit what you've been avoiding, that your healing journey is just procrastination with better marketing. You know that pathetic little ritual you do every few months? You decide this is it. This is your era. This is when everything changes. You reorganize your room like you're reorganizing your life. You buy new journals, new books, new crystals, new anything that makes starting over feel like starting fresh instead of starting again. You write "New Me starts now" in your notes app like you re-signing a contract with the universe. You plan your 5 a.m. morning routine, your meditation practice, your green smoothies, your gratitude. Journaling your walks in nature like you're reprogramming a robot version of yourself that will finally do all the things you keep promising you'll do. Monday morning comes and you're still you. Same fears, same patterns, same excuses, dressed up in spiritual language. Because you've learned something devastating. Healing language is an excellent substitute for actual healing. You can talk about your inner child while neglecting your adult responsibilities. You can post about self-love while treating yourself like garbage. You can preach about boundaries while letting everyone walk all over you. You've become fluent in healing without ever actually learning how to heal. I know, because I was you. I was the person who knew every therapy term but couldn't apply a single one. I could diagnose my attachment style and explain my trauma responses and identify my triggers with the precision of a psychology textbook. But I couldn't stop myself from repeating the same self-destructive patterns every single week. I thought understanding my dysfunction was the same as changing it. I thought analyzing my problems was the same as solving them. I thought being aware of my patterns was the same as breaking them. But awareness without action is just intellectual masturbation. You're getting off on your own insights without ever actually using them to change anything. You collect breakthrough moments like trophies, but you never let the breakthrough actually break you open enough to become someone different. You've made healing into another way to stay stuck, while feeling productive about it. Your therapist validates your self-awareness. Your friends applaud your growth mindset. Your social media followers heart-react your vulnerability posts. Everyone's so proud of you for doing the work. But what work are you actually doing? Talking isn't working. Understanding isn't working. Being aware isn't working. Journaling your feelings isn't working if you never actually feel them. Processing your trauma is unworking if you just processing it in circles without ever moving through it. You've turned therapy into entertainment, healing into hobby, growth into aesthetic. And the most pathetic part, you know this. You know you're performing. You know that posting your breakthrough doesn't mean you broke through anything. You know that buying another self-help book doesn't mean you're helping yourself. You know that talking about change doesn't mean you're changing. But you keep doing it anyway, because performing healing gives you all the emotional benefits of healing without any of the uncomfortable parts. You get to be the person who is working on themselves without ever having to show up as someone who has done the work. You get sympathy without accountability, progress without proof, growth without results. You've figured out how to be broken in a way that makes you feel special instead of just broken. You've learned how to suffer in a way that gets you attention instead of just suffering. You've discovered how to stay stuck in a way that looks like moving forward. But staying stuck with spiritual vocabulary is still staying stuck. Being broken with therapy language is still being broken. Avoiding your life with wellness aesthetics is still avoiding your life. And deep down, in the part of you that you silence with another meditation app, or another inspirational podcast, or another explanation for why you are the way you are, you know this? You know you've been running in place and calling it a marathon. You know you've been rearranging the furniture in your prison and calling it freedom. You know you've been performing recovery while actively avoiding it. You know this is the 9th time you've announced your healing era, because the first 8 times where you end healing, they were just new ways to explain why you're not ready to change yet. But what if I told you that not being ready is just another excuse? What if I told you that you'll never feel ready? What if I told you that waiting to feel ready is just another way to avoid doing anything difficult? What if the most healing thing you could do right now is admit that you are re-addicted to being the person who's always about to change but never actually changes? You're addicted to the possibility of transformation without the discomfort of actually transforming. You're addicted to the story of your healing without the reality of being healed. You're re-addicted to being the person who understands themselves deeply, while refusing to be the person who acts on that understanding. You've made victimhood into an identity and healing into a hobby. And I get it. I really do. Because being the person who is healing means you get to stay exactly where you are while feeling like you re-going somewhere. Being the person who's working on themselves means you get to keep all your dysfunction while getting credit for addressing it. Being the person who's on a journey means you never have to arrive anywhere. But here is what no one tells you about the healing journey. It's supposed to have a destination. It's supposed to end. You're supposed to actually heal, not just endlessly process your wounds like they're a hobby you've gotten really good at. Healing isn't a lifestyle. It's not an aesthetic. It's not a personality trait. It's medicine. And medicine is supposed to cure you, not become something you're dependent on for identity. But you've made healing into another addiction, another way to avoid showing up fully in your life, another way to stay small while feeling like you're growing. You've confused motion with progress, talking with doing, understanding with changing. And maybe that's because changing means letting go of the person you've been. And the person you've been is all you know how to be, even if the person you've been is miserable, stuck, afraid, and hiding behind spiritual language to avoid admitting it. Maybe the most honest thing you could do right now is stop trying to heal and start trying to live. Stop analyzing your patterns and start breaking them. Stop understanding your trauma and start moving beyond it. Stop being someone who's always becoming and start being someone who's already here. Stop being someone who's healing and start being someone who's whole. Because wholeness isn't something you achieve through enough therapy sessions or journal entries or meditation retreats. Wholeness is something you choose every day until choosing it becomes who you are instead of something you have to remember to do. But choosing wholeness means giving up the broken version of yourself that gets sympathy, attention, and excuses for not showing up fully in your life. And maybe you're not ready to give that up yet. Maybe you need to perform healing for a few more months, collect a few more insights, understand yourself a little more deeply before you're willing to actually be someone different. Or maybe you're finally tired enough of your own bullshit to admit that you've been using healing as a way to avoid living. Maybe you're ready to stop being someone who's always working on themselves and start being someone who's done the work. Maybe you're ready to stop being someone who understands their patterns and start being someone who's broken them. Maybe you're ready to stop being someone who's healing and start being someone who's alive. The 9th time doesn't have to be like the first 8 times, but only if you're willing to stop performing recovery and start actually recovering. Only if you're willing to stop talking about change and start changing. Only if you're willing to admit that you've been lying to yourself about wanting to heal when what you really want is to want to heal. You're not healing. You're just getting comfortable with being broken in prettier language. And pretty language doesn't change ugly reality. If this made you angry, good. Anger means I hit something real. If this made you defensive, even better. Defense means you know I'm right. If you're already planning how to dismiss this, that's just more evidence that you'd rather argue with the truth than face it.